Hi, this is Debbie, and welcome back to my Flosstube. I think we're on Flosstube 19, I think. Not sure. It is Saturday, July 19th, 2025, and it's about 8:43 in the morning. It's about 74 degrees outside right now in West Virginia, just south of Morgantown. And it is like dark. We're like covered in mist this morning, and so I have all the lights on, but I apologize for the lighting. But I really wanted to film before the day got away from me. So it's been 2 weeks since my last update. Last weekend, I was visiting some family in Pennsylvania, and so I did not record. So I have about 2 weeks of stitching to show you, although some days I barely got any stitches in. Other days I was surprised by how much stitching time I actually had being able to sit and stitch while visiting with people. So I have 8 pieces to show you. One of them is a finish, and I have a new start. And so we will just go through them. The first one I'm going to show you, sorry for the crinkle. First one I'm going to show you is Autumn Dream by Cottage Garden Samplings. This was, I think, my very first Cottage Garden Samplings pattern, and it has been languishing. So when I did my WIP parade and I saw this one, I was like, I need to bring this out and work on it. I had a wonderful day working on it. I was working over here, and the next time I stitch, I can actually work on the bird, which I'm really excited about. And I'm stitching this on a 40 count Valor by Picture This Plus. And here's where we are. So I will put up a picture of where I was last time during my WIP parade so you can kind of see the difference. I will kind of show this better, try to. So there we are. I'm using the DMC conversion. I believe it's being done in Weeks Dye Works. Yeah, Weeks Dye Works, but I'm just using the DMC, and I love the autumnal colors. So yeah, and then closer. Love this one. I need to bring this out more, obviously. Maybe not this summer, but definitely in the fall. This will have to come out more. But really enjoyed picking that back up. The next one was my 100 stitch a day project for the first week. The second week I didn't do a 100 stitch day project because of visiting with family. I just didn't know how much stitchy time I was going to have. So my 100 stitches per day project for that first week was, oh my, here we go, was a piece I charted myself, and it is Prue from Original Charmed. And I put in about 1,000 stitches. So in 7 days, I did 1,000 stitches instead of like about 700 is what I would expect. And this is where I'm at. So you can kind of see her face filling in a bit more. Definitely added some along the ridge here, along her nose. Her eye is up here. So you can see how big her face is. This is being stitched 2 over 1/10 stitch on a 28 count even weave, and it's all DMC. The finished piece, it's 700 by 700 stitches, and it's going to be 490,000 stitches when it's done, and I am at 2,190 stitches complete, which is 0.45%. My goal on this is to get it to 1%. So I'm almost halfway there. So technically this should stay out as a 100 stitch per day project again this coming week, but I'm not sure about that, and I will tell you why when we get to my new start. But yeah, this is where it's at. Tiny little stitches. I love the colors in this piece. They're like a bunch of like purpley mauves and grays, and love it. Okay, the next one you've seen recently. I just sort of kept it out. It is M. Satterthwaite 1807 by Shakespeare's Peddler. And I am working in this top page over here. And my goal really is just to finish that first page. Yeah. So I actually got a lot more done on this than I thought I was going to, because when a family member came into town to stay with me for a few days before we went to our family reunion, this piece was out and I'd only needed like one color to work on it, and so I just kept it out and got way more done than I thought I was going to. So this is where it looks like now. And I believe this motif wasn't started when I worked on it this past week. So I did a lot of that motif, and I put my initials in that corner instead of MA was there before. And it looks a bit ghostly on here, this light gold, but in person it shows really well, and it works really well with the fabric. I'm going to be using that highlight color in a couple of places. So page 1 kind of goes just a little bit further, and so I'm getting there. I've reached the bottom, so the bottom you see there is the end of page 1 with a little bit going over. So I'm not that far from finishing page 1. I think it looks great. This is being done on a 56 count linen in some sort of dirty looking linen. I do not know. I've lost the tag on this. This was like the very first piece of 56 count linen I've ever had, and I had originally started something else on it, trying to use a DMC thread, and it was just too thick. So I'm using 103 silks on this. And I'm doing 1 strand over 2 fabric threads. And love it. All right, so the next one I put in another day on Better at the Beach, which has been languishing for too long. This was supposed to be a gift for someone last year, so when I saw it in the WIP parade, I was like, I need to work on this. So this is Better at the Beach by Imaginating, designed by Ursula Michael, and I'm just working from the top down. And with 1 day's stitching, I have got to here. So I did the word all, and I got it all done. So that's where we're at. I need to do some of those bubbles along the top and the right hand side, or the left hand side, but we're making progress. So I think I'm going to try doing one more day on it this week, and just kind of keep that momentum going through the summer. So probably through July and August, I'll try and stitch on this 1 day a week and just see where it gets me. My goal is to have it finished by next year, June, so I have time. But I would like to get a good chunk of it done this year, so I'm not like stressed trying to finish it or upset at myself for not getting it done. The next one I worked on, is Shores of Hawkern Hollow by Carriage Samplings. Let me get the picture. Now this is the one I took with me on vacation, and I got way more stitching on this than I thought I was going to. So here's what it looks like. There we go. I have started in the middle, with this middle block, and I'd like to get that block done this year. That's my goal. And then I can stitch whichever block I feel like after that. So I will show where it was the last time you saw it, and show you where it's at now. Folded this one all the way up. I'm doing this on a 32 count linen in jade. Sorry. It's like in the middle of the fabric, and the fabric is just everywhere. Okay. So, I am almost done with the ship. And the last time you saw it, hardly any of these sails were done. Sorry about the lighting. This one does not want to light properly. So you can see I have some of the motifs to fill in on this side of the sails. And then I have a few sails to do at the front and make that the bow of the ship a little longer. And then the ship's going to be done. And I can't wait to stitch on some of the other motifs in this block. So I feel like I've gotten over the hump of like the hardest part, which is all of these sails and everything. And then I can hopefully finish this block this summer. I don't know if it's going to come out this week just because I stitched on it so much last week, but it's definitely going to come out again this summer. So here's the full piece of fabric. And it's looking a little grayer than it is. That might be a bit more accurate in the color of the fabric. But yeah, I think it looks great. I love these Hawk Run Hollows. There's a couple more that I want to do, but I feel like Shores of Hawk Run Hollow and Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow are plenty for now. Okay, so next, after we came back from vacation, my son came to stay with me for a little bit, and so I pulled out the piece that I'm working on for him, which is a full coverage piece. I will show you what it looks like here. It's called TF2 Babies, and it's from a video game called Team Fortress 2 that my son loves and has loved since it first came out. And so I had him pick an image of something he would like me to stitch, because you know us stitchers, like, sometimes we stitch for ourselves, but sometimes it's enjoyable just to be stitching on something that's for someone else. And so he picked this image, and I confirmed back in 2020 that this is what he would like. He would still like it when it was done. And this is where we are right now. So I did get a page finish, and I started on that next page. So while he was here, I got this page finish. I was working on this arm and this bottom section of the page and got that done. And then I moved over and started getting some of his massive chin in there. But then he left yesterday to go back home, and so I put this down. But yeah, so that's where we're at. It's looking good. I definitely need to stitch on this more because, like I said, I started this at the end of 2020, and it's been like 5 years, and I'm barely at 25%, so I need to bring this out more. This is being stitched 2/1 tent stitch on a 28 count even weave, and it goes by pretty fast. Like, there's blocks, like the people are confetti, obviously, but then the rest of it really is blocks of color. And so it makes for a really nice combination of stitching that goes by fast but still gives me, you know, the detail that I like. So I definitely need to bring this out some more. And then once I finish this page, I'm gonna go back to the top and work my way to the, all the way to the other corner, I think. So this is the full fabric. You can see with the border. But I'd like to work my way over to that top left corner, and then work my way down. And that should be easy stitching because it's all background. So that is my plan for this, but it's gonna go away for now. And then I will show you my finish next. So this inspired me during my WIP parade as well, of a piece that was in a pretty good position, and I hadn't picked it up in like a year, and so I decided that I was going to work on it one day a week until it got finished. And then I worked on it one day and I was like, I can get this done this week. So I think I put maybe 2 or 3 days on it. It's out of this Emma Congden book, Cross Stitch for the Earth, and it's Pardon the Weeds. And here's what it looks like, all done. I did all the back stitching. Some of these flowers were like a lot of back stitching, but I love the bees. The bees look great. And I think it came out great. So I found a frame for this. So I am planning to give this to someone for Christmas this year. And so the stitching's all done. I think it looks great. So yeah. So that was a lot of fun. It was kind of fiddly. This is a 40 count Valor by Picture This Plus, and the backstitch and the little bits of cross stitch that go with the backstitch were kind of fiddly for me, and so that's why I had put it down, because I just couldn't be bothered. But once I got going, it just finished up really fast. So love it. Do a bit of a close-up. Yeah, so I think it came out great. I'm so glad I have a Christmas present ready, almost ready. I had to fully finish it. And we're, in July. But speaking of Christmas, so I've started to develop, I'm planning a trip back to Phoenix for Christmas. So I'll get to see my son, and we can do some of our usual traditions and stuff that we weren't able to do last year. And so that got me thinking about some of the people I'd be seeing, and some cross-stitch projects I would like to stitch for them. And so I ended up going on Etsy to find things that I knew they would like. And one of them was trying to find like a Mario Kart stitch or a Minecraft stitch. And yes, I could have picked some little motif and put it in like a 4-inch hoop and call it an ornament, and it would take me a week and it would be done. But me do something like reasonable? Of course not. I will show you the Minecraft image I ended up picking. This is from Glitch Stitch AU. It is 100 stitches by 300 stitches, which comes out to 30,000 stitches. And I calculated, though, because I was like, I'm going to do this 2/1 tent stitch on a 28 count. So it's going to come out like 4 inches by 11 inches. And the 30,000 stitches, of course, then I'm only doing one leg. So that's really doing 15,000 stitches. And between now through November, I divided all the stitches into 4 months. So not including the rest of July, and just doing August, September, October, November. And I was like, that would be under 2,000 stitches per week. And those 2,000 stitches would be half stitches. And I was like, I could totally do that. And it's block stitching. Like it's very pixelated block stitching, because of course for Minecraft. And so I bought that pattern last night and I started it. And I put in, let me find my notes. I put in about 1,500 stitches so far, and I'm at 4.86%. Oh, the lighting is so bad. So I just started from the top and picked the topmost symbol and kind of worked that color as far as I could, and then worked on the next highest, and so on and so forth. And so the outline, anything that's an outline, I am doing 1/1 full cross to make sure it's crisp. But then all the other block stitching and fill in, I'm doing 2/1 tent. And I just love the colors in this. You know, when my son, like 10 years ago, my son was super into Minecraft. And so I would be sitting on the couch cross-stitching while he was playing it, or watching YouTube videos about it. And so I've seen a lot of Minecraft, and he and I did play together here and there. I wasn't very good because creepers like freaked me out, and I would like accidentally blow myself up. But I have feels about this too. So not only like is this a gift for someone else, which gives me motivation to stitch on it, but like I love these colors, and you know, I love the image itself. So this is going to be a lot of fun to work on. And so I'm really pleased with my progress so far. I think I'm going to bring this out actually today. I'm going to keep working on it until I get to 2,000 stitches, and then I'm going to put it down until next week. But yeah, so this is a new start, hoping for a November finish. So you should be seeing this. You should be seeing a lot of progress on this. So that'll probably be fun to watch. The other one that I picked out is for someone, and it's a band logo, and it's not super simple because the logo is filled in with like fire. So it's got like lots of colors in there to make it look like fire, but it's not as many stitches. It's like a fraction of the stitches that this Minecraft one is. So I'm not starting that one yet. I would like to get a good chunk out of this Minecraft one first, but that one will be started at some point soon to get that, just to give that some momentum. But other than that, I'm just kind of stitching on whatever I feel like stitching. So some of the pieces from this week hopefully will come out this coming week, just to get some progress, like, Better at the Beach, the Minecraft one. Let's see, what was the other one? Prue. Prue might come out, but Prue might be on a bit of a break. I don't know if I'm gonna do that as my 100 stitch per day project, or if I'm going to absorb that time with the Minecraft piece and then try and stitch something else on top of the Minecraft piece per day. So I might be going through my stack of projects I set aside for my WIP parade that I wanted to touch on, and so you'll definitely be seeing some pieces I haven't worked on in a while as well. But my goal is to be back next Saturday to show you my weekly update. I do still have other videos that I would like to do, like a specific goals video I do want to put together, kind of highlighting all the full coverage projects and then the non-full coverage projects that I have earmarked that I would like to finish sooner rather than later, and kind of formalize some goals for them, just so that I have kind of a direction to go with my stitching. I'm finding that having the direction keeps me motivated and keeps me from starting and going wild on too many things. I would like to see some progress. I'm definitely, every project that I start, I have envisioned it complete. So I don't stitch just to stitch. Like, I do love the act of stitching, but I'm also stitching to finish things. And so having some goals is good, but definitely I'm not going to have goals for every piece I have, and the goals that I do have are like loose. Like, if I don't make them I'll get to that goal eventually, but I do want to try and visualize some steps forward in some specific pieces. So hopefully I will get around to that video this coming week, maybe for Wednesday. In the meantime, let's see. Do I have a life update? Well, I went on vacation last week. My extended family goes up to a lake in the mountains of Pennsylvania, and it's like this tiny little vacation town. It has like an ice cream shop and a used bookstore and a little general store and just a lot of beautiful old homes from like early 1900s, and it's just a quaint little place. It was super muggy while we were there, and there's no air conditioning up there. So typically you don't need air conditioning up there in the mountains, but yeah, it was pretty muggy while we were there. But it was great seeing family, and my son flew out from Phoenix to kind of to go, and then we halfway through the vacation week we came back home here to West Virginia, and so I wanted to show him the house, and because I moved here last November from Phoenix. If you're new here, I had lived in Phoenix for like 30 years, and now I'm in small town West Virginia, and I do love it. I mean, it was very purposeful leaving the city for a small town. But so he came and he saw the house, and we drove out to Point Pleasant and went to the Mothman Museum, and kind of I wanted to give him like a quintessential very West Virginian thing out here. So that was a lot of fun. And then he flew home yesterday, and so after all of that socialization with family, like I came back from the airport and like took a nap because I was just so tired. I'm feeling more myself today, and then I'll be, once the weekend's over, I'll be back to the usual, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Like, vacation's nice and all, but like I do like my routine. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. My sister was there, so I got to hang out with her. And it was really nice. It was really nice getting to catch up with people. But I did find myself just sitting out on the porch, cross-stitching in the midday, like for a couple hours, and people would come and go and chat, but it was just, I was sitting there and you could hear the breeze through the trees, and you could hear bird song, and it was just quiet. It was so nice. So I got a lot of stitching into Shores of Hawkhorn Hollow for that. But yeah, so that was really nice, and now I'm ready to get back to normal. So I hope that you had a really great stitchy week these past couple weeks, and that you get some good stitching time this coming week. Let me know what you're working on, and I will see you next week. So thank you so much. Bye.